Okay, we are back in business. Thank you, everyone, for staying patient and joining back in as well. What we're going to do is, Rashid, if you could just make me a co-host, I can then add in a couple of others in the waiting room. It's just we've got the recorder as well in the waiting room. We'll be gathering a recording of the session as well and taking the little parts of it so that it's accessible afterwards too. And so there will be certainly all of the ideas captured. And on which note, I think it will be great to give the floor back to Teresa. So Teresa, as you were midway through, but do start again. It might have given you time as well to get some more ideas, but for you, who supports you on your journey as a game changer, and what further support do you feel that you might need from this wider community as well? Please do share. If you could just unmute yourself first.
Like I was saying, of course, so we have the youth fellows. There are our first actors in this, because we need the initiatives and the ideas that are going to come from them, because actually they are the wider community that we are also saving. And then the other actors would include the representatives from marginalized communities. So these are communities that are basically even being affected or left out when it comes to rights and inclusion. For instance, the youths, it was stated that the youths, sometimes they're not given the platform to speak out on issues that concern them. So we need representatives from marginalized communities that are also our important actors in this. And then researchers and academics, so that they can also assist, in analyzing and providing the actual statistics and facts on what really is on the ground when it comes to rights and inclusion. And then we would also need or recommend government officials and policymakers, because they are the ones that are responsible also to help in shaping policies and programs that are centered around rights and inclusion. So they are also very important actors in these. And lastly, donors and funders, because we also need the financial resources to help us push forward the different initiatives and projects that are there in place. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, Teresa, for continuing as you left off as well. That's fantastic, and it builds on these insights we're gathering in the session around what might be some further support. So we've heard quite a bit around support and guidance on the logistics of facilitating these environments, as well on the access to mentorship. And then lastly, I think as well, the resource, not just intellectual of mentorship, but also financial as well, and what's the most effective way that we can get the money to the initiatives, to the youth-led initiatives that are really doing amazing work in communities too. Thanks so much, Teresa, for sharing. It would be great now just to pass to yourself, Bethany, because we've gone from the fellows and their experience at different events into the council, which is really powering the initiative. And it's supported by some incredible co-leading organizations and this wider community too, especially Children in All Policies. And it would be great to hear from you, your experience engaging in the initiative over the past year, and particularly how it's led into bringing youth decision-making and advice into the heart of CAP as well.
Thank you so much, Ed. It's such a privilege to be here and just really exciting. As Ed said, I work for Children in All Policies, which is an organisation based at UCL in London, and we exist to meet the challenges that children face all over the world. So we work through networks, bring experts together through research and advocacy to really try to ensure that children's rights and interests are at the heart all policies and decision making that is happening internationally. And so from the beginning, we've recognized that changes, work in this area should always involve children and young people. Children and adolescents have a right to be heard, and we learn so much from their experiences and from their ideas. And so we're excited to be involved in the Youth Empowerment Circle. Its importance and its potential was really obvious to us. But I think really I wasn't prepared for just how amazing the youth who are involved really are. Just their passion and compassion and innovation. You know, their ideas are just so inspiring, and bringing these ideas into fruition with wisdom and care and determination. I think I've just been incredibly inspired by the young people who've been involved. And another thing I've been really struck by is the relationships and just how young people are supporting each other. Really important relationships are being formed through this Youth Empowerment Circle, and I'm excited to see how they continue and grow and shape the world that we live in a positive way. So it's really a caring community has been built here, and it's just such a privilege to be part of that. And also I think this space has so much to teach others and other organizations. And as Ed mentioned, we've formed a youth council advisory board to be part of our specific pieces of work. So we have academic experts and policymakers to come together to look at issues such as climate change and harmful commercial marketing, how data is communicated to policymakers. And 21 young people from 16 different countries have agreed to be part of our work and partner with us. And it's such a privilege to have those young people involved. We're quite early in the process. We had our first meeting last week. But really, the learning from this Youth Empowerment Circle has really gone into shaping and forming this group. And I think we all know the importance of having young people at the heart of decision making and partnering with them. But in reality, there's so many things you have to think of around safeguarding, keeping people safe, keeping making sure that there's safe spaces and everyone can access them. And so there's so much thought and work that goes into that, and we've really been supported and encouraged by the Youth Empowerment Circle. And so really the Youth Empowerment Circle is such a unique achievement. It provides a space for young people to take the lead and realize their potential. And I think it's wonderful to see just how initiatives grow and the changes they make. But I think it's also really important to encourage other organizations and networks to bring young people into the very heart of decision making. And I think that's something that the Youth Empowerment Circle can continue to do. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bethany, and we'll be really curious as well to see and how the journey evolves of the Youth Council with CAP specifically too. We've spoken as well with Manoj, who's from the Catalyst community, about how there'll be a central place for youth as well in the Catalyst community over the coming months. And so this is what's really exciting, is seeing how there is the cross-network approach, and then in each community gathering these insights and knowledge and know-how, sharing this expertise, and how youth members can have a dedicated place in each of the communities as well. And so we're really keen to see how we can pass on some ideas for that, some humble learnings too, what has worked, what we'd love to improve. And so we definitely want to commit to doing that more, and it feeds into this theme, I think, coming up today around as well the value and the importance of mentorship. And on that note, I am just putting in the link to the form that we've been gathering over the past months. Those interested, both of the young youth members and of the youth organizations, in offering, for now we've explored offering just a minimum of 1 hour a month based on an area of your expertise. It might be 1 hour spent in that month exploring, looking at a funding proposal, if that's what you can offer. It might be 1 hour of just an open informal meeting, Q&A. It could be split in lots of different ways, but it's just as a way of saying there are these competencies, these insights in this youth empowerment circle community, and how can we make it as fluid as possible so that those that need help can also find those that are able to offer insights too, and that this works very much in a two-way format. That it will also be equally as relevant for the adult and youth member leading organizations seeking support as well from our members too is especially important. So we'll do have a look at that form, fill it in if you're of interest to hear a little bit more, and we're going to be trying to put that into place over the next couple of months. And with that being said, we'd like to pass to one of our most wonderful mentors in the initiative, yourself, Kenneth. Share a little bit more around, when you joined, we were discussing this question over what do you need, what have you been able to call on in terms of support, and what would you like to look more for over the coming months? And this has opened up some wonderful conversation, but maybe you could share a little bit more about what this circle has been for you, and a little bit about where you were last week. We mentioned EcoSoc earlier, but it'd be great to get your perspective.
Yeah. Look, I'll make this short. Thank you so much. Right. And look, I don't call myself a mentor, to be honest. I call myself as someone who wished I can live like a youth again. And one of the things that we do, I think, as a team with Ed, with Bethany, is honestly putting youth first. So as part of the LearningPlanet Youth Fellows program, well, here's 6 of our youth fellows, right, at the recent EcoSoc Youth Forum at the UN, right? So what I do, I guess, in terms of my team at Kids for SDGs, as well as all our partners, is to align with, real world organizations to give even high school students the chance to engage in the real world like this, where they meet country delegates, where they present their posters, right? Everybody loves to present their posters at the UN. It's like kind of a ritual thing. And as you can tell, these posters, right, Francois basically said, let's go with the Planetism Fellows. So I guess these are our first 6 Planetism Fellows of the Youth Fellows community, given they're at the UN. So as I said, like going forward, I really hope that, this is year 2. I really hope that we can continue to engage the Youth Council and the Youth Fellows in global opportunities like this. And last but not least, just to drop in a potential, teaser, we are recruiting students and youth potentially joining the SDG Summit in New York during United Nations General Assembly Week, which will be huge. So again, Ed, I'll be discussing with you in Paris in 2 days in person. And but look, as I said, thank you so much for being a part of this Youth Fellows community. I cannot wait to see this. I want all of us to look back in 10 years and be like, didn't we do something good in this world? So yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. It's so wonderful to see these photos, to see what has emerged, and to also hopefully build momentum as well as we're moving towards these events. And I think, though, to build on what Eva, you were mentioning earlier around the challenges, we need to put more pressure on these events, bringing out kind of meaningful outputs too. And so by participating more and more regularly as well, it can be a way of us of really encouraging what it can be, the change that we want to see in these kind of environments. How can we make these moments as truly meaningful as possible? And so thanks for giving that picture. And that gives, I mean, this past 50 minutes has been able to give a few of the different portraits of people in the initiative. And thank you as well so much for your questions. Just to give a little bit of an idea as well of what's coming up. So you'll have seen in the chat, we've shared a link around the possibility to support and get involved in mentorship as well. We also have been starting, particularly with the education group of the council, to share more resources and encourage the wider community to share more resources for the youth fellows particularly as well, and many others too. And so I'm just going to be posting in the link to this once I find it in a second. But if there are resources or opportunities that you want to post, then we make this available, particularly for our youth communities, to be able to just as best as possible filter through, search what is most meaningful to them in their work as well. And so these might be events coming up to give us some planning time to think how we can support these. It could be funding opportunities, other projects, other trainings. So please do, once I add that in, have a look at that and bookmark it so that you can then save and contribute to that afterwards. Another point as well, just very briefly, is that we've reflected a lot with LearningPlanet about how we can accompany our youth members on their journey as game changers too. We've had a lot of feedback. There's been amazing trainings that have been offered and workshops by the wider community. But one area that youth fellows have been always asking for and exploring and being interested in is in amongst all of this opportunity, all of these challenges. My cause, my passion, my focus might be clear, but just some support as how to guide and how to find a pathway through all this opportunity and challenge. And so on which note, we're going to be launching the first test of a program in June for the moment for our existing youth fellows on calling a purpose development program. So exploring and building on several years of research and offers and resources from within the LearningPlanet Institute on how can you guide particularly students through identifying their core cause, but also seeing how we can reflect and plug this into community actions as well. So we'll be updating and sharing a little bit more with the community as this develops. But I'd love on this note just to briefly introduce Ilya, who'll be the lead facilitator for this program. So if you could just briefly introduce yourself, Ilya, and what you're looking forward to seeing coming up in that program over the coming months.
Thank you, Ed. I'll be very short, taking account the time we have left. I'm happy to meet everyone. I'm just a new clients and the whole community. You've lost and you can be able to find.
So I think Ilya's connection is bugging somewhat, but
connection has disappeared because can you hear me? Because I cannot turn on the video because the organizer stopped this.
It's buffering quite a lot, Ilya. So maybe best is just to introduce or share a short intro in the chat, because each time you're speaking, it's buffering quite a bit, and we'll share it in the summary email too, a little bit more information about this test program, and certainly we'll be having plenty of more opportunities over the coming months to share a bit more about the progress of this. But that also probably helps us to finish on time as well. So I would say certainly thank you so much to those that have continued through the journey of this session. I'm being bounced here and everywhere by Zoom as well. Thanks so much to Rashid for your support on this too, from the Catalyst team, and the opportunity to share more during this week. There's hundreds of amazing events over the course of this week to explore further, notably around how Catalysts are bringing youth in at the heart of the network too. And so we're really excited to explore more on that. Some quick takeaways: do save the mentoring form. I'll also be sharing in a summary email the access to sharing and submitting resources. And in fact, I'm just going to get this up now so that I can pass this into the chat. Here we go. We will also be giving you some information and sharing the progress of our programs supporting the Youth Fellows members, particularly through the personal development programs, but we're really open to exploring from other members of the community. If there's anything that you feel you can offer that you can share with particularly the Youth Fellows, then please do get in touch. I'll be putting my email as well into the chat. And indeed, thank you, Dominia. I'm really glad to be joining in a couple of hours for the session looking at further youth involvement in the wider Catalyst network too. So lots to be looking forward to. Last but not least, we do have our campaign and our push for further Youth Fellows to join the community over this month. We doubled the community this time last year, and so we're certainly hoping to do the same. So I'm just going to share a little bit more information into the chat. So there's a few different links I'm asking you to bookmark, but would really recommend exploring more because there's some information about the stories of the young people that have been part of the initiative. So I really encourage you to capture that and look forward to being in touch over the coming weeks. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining, and see you very, very soon.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.